Okay, hello, good morning everyone. A very warm welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jackie and today we're going to be going through some of the new features which are available in version 28.1 of your Sage 50 Cloud Accounts software. So just before we begin, today's session is slightly longer than some of them, so it should be around 45 minutes of the content because we've got a lot to cram in today. And we do have the team on hand to answer any questions. Just an introduction to the system that we're going to be using today. We are using GoToWebinar, so if you've joined us in the past, you're probably familiar with this. If not, then you will be placed on mute. So please don't be alarmed if you do see the microphone with the cross through it showing in red. That just means that you can't speak to us directly. You will need to submit any questions via the questions panel today. So if you wish to do so, then we do have the icon. It looks like a speech bubble with a question mark in the middle. If you click on that, it should expand that questions panel where you can type in your questions across to myself, and we've also got Tim on hand today to help with any questions you have. We do ask that if you've got a question, submit it when it comes to you. Don't feel you've got to wait till the end of the session. We normally get an influx at the end, so just so that we can make sure that we can cover all of those questions, get them submitted throughout today's session. Now, we do have a lot to cover today. We're going to do a mix of demonstrations, some videos, and also some PowerPoint. So we have provided for you a handout, which is going to cover off all of the features we're going to highlight for you today. There's lots of useful links in there as well, and useful places for you to go after today's session if you want any more support or training on any of the content for today. Okay, so like I mentioned, we do have a lot to cover. So first of all, what we're going to do is just a quick introduction called You Asked, We Did. We'll then look at the data management tool, which is one of the larger features which has been introduced. We're going to look at some of the productivity and time-saving features that have been added, some of the business insight tools, also look at the VAT simplification features, some user improvements, one of which is very exciting, as it's still my favorite to this day. And at the end, we're going to be looking at the business dashboard improvements. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to talk about You Asked, We Did. So you as our customers, you really are at the heart of everything we do. So what you will find is that with version 28.1, there's a lot of improvements based on customer ideas and feedback. So you asked, we did. Now, 22 of these improvements were added as a request, added as a result of a request through our Sage City community. Now, we will talk about that a little bit later on how you can submit requests going forward for future versions. So we want to simplify the way that you use your 50 cloud accounts and give you tools to run your business your way. And what you'll see is that many of these improvements will enhance your business productivity and provide better business insights and simplify your VAT. So if you haven't already installed, you may be thinking, where can I get version 28.1? Now, the first place is when you log into your software, you will be greeted with a welcome page, and in lots of our version 28 software, there is a prompt within the software to get the 28.1 update. Now, if you're not seeing that, don't panic. There are various other ways you can access that. You may be prompted through an auto update or via email. We are communicating with our customers via email with links there as well. But we also do have it available on our website, and that's sage.co.uk/AU. Okay, so that's A for Alpha, U for Uniform. And where can you get support with installing your updates? So it is a little bit of a worrying time. It's one of those big changes that you've got to make several times a year, is running that install and making sure that you're doing that correctly. So we do have an install hub, and that's sage.co.uk/install. But also there's a lot of help and support available on our help centre, and that's sage.co.uk/help. And we'll show you that a little bit later on so you can see how that will work as well. So it's time to get stuck into the content. So we do have a lot of content to go through, as you saw earlier on. So the first thing we're going to be looking at via a video demonstration is the data management tool. So the data management tool is a new feature which is designed to try and keep your data within the recommended data volumes. Okay, this video is going to demonstrate exactly how that works and what those recommended levels are for you. Let's explore the new data management tool within version 28.1 of Sage 50 accounts. This feature is available within all variants of Sage accounts. However, it will not appear until the data has reached a point where it's nearing or exceeding the data volume recommendations. This feature is enabled by default unless you're using Client Manager, but it can also be deactivated by going into Settings, Company Preferences, and then into the Parameters tab, and here you can remove the tick to enable data management. When the View Data Management feature is selected, initially we're giving an overview of the tool, the benefits of removing older transactions and records, and what you can do to maintain compliance, such as keeping backups and archiving your data. When you click Continue, you are presented with the options to do both of these. The software will force you into a backup as the following steps are irreversible. It is recommended to run a check data prior to running the data management routines and ensure that there are no errors in the data. Taking an archive of your data is optional, but it is recommended as an easy way to access your older data for viewing and reporting purposes. The archive data will be held alongside your data and will be given the default name of mid-year and the financial year that you're currently in. These archives can easily be accessed later by going into File and Open Company Archive. The final step is to review the data. Here the data size is compared to the recommended data volumes. A blue information icon presents when the data is approaching the recommendation, so as between 80 and 100% of the recommended volume. A green tick indicates that the data is below 80% of the recommended volume, so no action is needed. And an orange warning triangle indicates where the recommended volume has been exceeded. All options can be accessed regardless of their status. So even if data was not nearing the data volume on the screen, the data management tool can still be used on this data type to remove older data. So first we have the option to clear the audit trail. This feature allows you to remove transactions from the transactions window. You can specify what date you wish to clear transactions up to, and it will remove them providing they meet certain criteria. The transactions must be prior to the date specified. They must be fully paid off, so not showing as outstanding. They must be reconciled for VAT and bank purposes, if applicable, and not allocated to any other transaction that does also not meet these criteria. One major cause of transactions not removing during a clear audit trail is transactions using a bank account which hasn't been reconciled. The easiest way to avoid this is to mark them as not requiring reconciliation, and this can be done within the Clear Audit Trail window within Data Management. Clicking on Clear Audit Trail starts the process running, checking for transactions that can be removed, deleting them, and then re-indexing and compressing the data to reclaim the disk space. For any nominal transactions which leave a balance on a nominal code, an opening balance journal will be created for the total of those transactions. This process may take a while to run, and our demonstration has been speeded up for the purposes of today's demonstration. Once complete, you will receive the option to view deleted transactions. Tick the box if you wish to view this report. When you click on OK, the process is complete, so you can click Close on the Clear Audit Trail window. Next, we can look at deleting older invoices. This dataset is well below the recommended volume, but we can still use this option to clear out the older data if required. Here you specify what date you wish to delete up to, and it does not have the same criteria applied as the Clear Audit Trail. So it will remove all invoices, credits, quotations and proformas from within the invoicing module prior to the date specified, regardless of the status of the item. The final two steps are to review customer and supplier records. The processes for these are almost identical. So if you select customers, you can see that you're asked to specify the last invoice date, and it will only remove those with no balance, no transaction history, and that aren't linked to a project or a direct debit. If you select suppliers, then you must specify the last invoice date that you want to clear up to, and the criteria is that it has no balance or transaction history. Regardless of whether you're doing this within Review Customers or within Review Suppliers, the software then compiles a list of records which can be deleted. From here you can select all, clear all, or individually select the records to be deleted. Okay, so that was just a demonstration there of the data management tool. Now, it might not be something that you will use. It is something that is optional, and it will only appear, like we say earlier, if your data is meeting those requirements there. So it may be that you don't see the option. It will only appear once your data becomes a size where we recommend you do some tidying up there of the data. Now, just a little note there, if you do have any issues with the webinar, viewing any of the videos, unfortunately, there can be many things go wrong, so please do let us know, but there will be a recording available. So if you have missed that, don't worry, there is a recording that you can catch up on online. So we're going to move on next to productivity improvements. And this one we're going to do with a live demonstration. So what we're going to be looking at here is two new features, both of which have come through Sage City. So we're going to be looking at pasting multiple address lines and also disputed invoices. So for this, I am going to go on to a live demonstration. So I'm just going to flip onto our demonstration data to show you this. Okay, so that should be us on the live data set there. Okay, so the first one is the ability to paste multiple address lines in one go. Now I'm going to demonstrate this within the customer feature, but this is also available anywhere there is an address within the software. So it's also available on your suppliers, invoicing, orders, quotes, etc. So for this, we're going to put a scenario out there. You've received an email with an address contained. Previously, what you had to do was you could copy each line individually across. Now, obviously, that takes a little bit more time. So in order to try and make things a little bit quicker for you, we've now enabled the ability to paste multiple address lines in one go. So I'm just going to go into my customer record. Just take a moment to open, and typically it's opened on the other window. So there we go, we've got our customer record, and I've also got my document here where I've received the details of the address for this customer. So what you'll see now is on version 28.1, we've got this little icon here, and that allows us to paste the entire address rather than line by line. So in this example here, I'm going to show you a few different ways it will work. So we have a simple 5 lines in the email that we've received. That matches the number of fields we've got in Sage, which is also 5 lines. So I can copy that from the document and use this little icon to paste the whole lot across in one go. So that was a really popular one on Sage City that we had a lot of requests for. However, not always do we get the full address. We might get bits of the address. So for example, here we've actually received the first line and the last line only. We can also copy that. And it is clever enough to recognize that the postcode should go in the postcode field rather than in any of the others. Now, it may be that we've actually received it in a different format. So as you can see here, we might have received it in just one line, but with commas separating it. So I can also copy here and paste across, and it's filled in the gaps for me. The final one I'm just going to demonstrate there is where we receive an address where we've actually got more fields than there are available in the Sage software. So on this one, we've added on the UK. So again, I'm just going to copy that one across and click on paste. And this time it allows me to choose which 5 to copy across. So if I didn't want to copy Tyne and Wear and I actually wanted to pop the UK on, I could switch that over to the UK, but I can change it back if I change my mind. So you can only pick 5, you pick which 5 you want to bring across, and that will do it for you. So that's paste multiple address lines. The next one we're going to look at is the option for disputing invoices at the point of entry. So for this, I'm going to go into our suppliers module, and what we're going to do first of all is pop on an invoice. So I'm just going to go into the batch invoicing module, and again, it's just opened on the other window, so I'll bring that across. So I can add my invoice as normal, adding in all of my details. But what I may know at this point is, as it's entered the building, it's damaged, or there's a reason I need to dispute it, I can add a dispute here at this point. The previous process, we had to add the invoice and then go back, do a separate process to place that as disputed. So again, it just saves you time if you're processing a lot of supplier invoices and you do deal with disputes on a regular basis. It can all be done within one window at the point of entry there. When you use the dispute option, it will then bring through your reasons. Now, again, if you do want to alter the dispute reasons or start to use disputes, then that can be set up in settings and then configuration settings. So you can set up your own reasons. So I'm just going to select number 1 because that's the only one I've got there at the moment. If I want to view disputes, I can view them in exactly the same way. So I can still use the disputes option at the top to view any disputes that have been created. Just bring that one across by selecting the account, and as you can see there, that's today's invoice that we've disputed. We can also view the dispute within the supplier record, within the activity tab there. Let's just bring that one across. There we go. So in the activity, I can also see the dispute in the column thereafter outstanding. So dealt with in the same way, but we can add them a little bit quicker. What we can also do is also add a dispute at the point of updating a purchase order. So as you can see here, I've popped into purchase orders, and within here, I've got one that's complete, but it's not updated to ledgers yet. So if I go to update this particular one here, number 1, and update to ledgers, I can update as normal, but when it launches the batch invoice window, I then have the disputed column. And again, I can apply it to all of the invoice or just those that it's applicable to. So it might just be that part of that item was damaged and I want to pop the dispute on there. So that's the disputes option, and that's adding a dispute at the point of entry. And those are our productivity and time saving features. Next, we're going to look at a business insight feature, and this is the ability to add on payment due, the due dates as being 0. So again, for this, we're going to pop into our customers record, and I just want to highlight to you the customer record as it is now. So just open up the module there, and I'm just going to go into our credit control tab. And as you can see at the moment, for my customer, my payment due at the moment is sitting at 0. So that means technically if I put an invoice on today, it should actually be due immediately. There shouldn't be any payment terms applied to there. Now what we can do now is we can tell the software to recognize that. So what normally happens, although the payment due is 0, it actually defaults as 30 days. It doesn't recognize that 0 value. So we do have the option now for it to recognize a true 0 figure. So as you can see here, we've got a little question mark, which gives us a little bit more information on how we can set this up. So we've got the option within settings, customer defaults, and aging due date tab, and we can allow the payment to be due immediately. Let's just have a quick look at those settings. So if we pop into settings and customer defaults, bring those across. As you can see at the moment, at the bottom there, payment is due immediately when payment due is set to 0. So it will now recognize 0 in the record. If we were to untick that box, it would automatically apply 30 days, which can be overwritten. But if you want to, again, save the time and make the program work for you, ticking that box will set that to true 0 for you. Again, that's another request that we've had from our customers. So our next topic is VAT simplification. Now again, we're going to demonstrate this in a short video. It's not as long as the last one. This is just a couple of minutes long for you because there's a couple of features there for VAT simplification. Much easier for us to demonstrate via a video so we can show elements of the submission process. So again, if you do have any issues viewing the video, we will have a recording that you will be able to watch shortly after today's session. Let's take a look at some of the VAT enhancements introduced to assist you in getting your VAT right each time and to simplify VAT submissions. First, we've introduced a new Calculate Net button within the footer tab on Invoices, Orders and Quotations, allowing you to enter the gross figure and the software to calculate the net tax split on your behalf. This saves you time with manual calculations and improves the accuracy on your VAT figures. The next feature is within the VAT return itself. So when we open the VAT return, we have now added a new Select All and Clear options within the VAT verification settings. Here we can easily select or deselect these settings rather than individually selecting or deselecting these options. This should help to speed up the process. Our next enhancements are within the VAT submission process. Once you've clicked to submit the return and begun the submission process, you're required to enter your VAT credentials, and then you are presented with the window which pulls through the obligation period from HMRC. In previous versions, it was easy to accidentally submit for the wrong period. So we've now introduced a notification if the VAT return dates that you've entered in Sage do not match the obligation period selected in the drop-down. This should prevent submissions for the wrong VAT period. In addition, we've also added the ability to select the checkbox for all open periods. So in situations where an old period remains open or has been reopened, which may happen in specific circumstances where HMRC require an older period to be submitted, the software can pull through all obligation periods which remain open with HMRC. Okay, so that was some of the VAT simplifications there, just to try and make sure that you get your VAT correct, but also allowing you to calculate net on your invoices on the footer tab. Again, just a reminder, if you've got any questions, please do send them across. Tim's waiting there on hand to answer any of your questions, so please do send them across as they come to you there. Okay, so we're going to move into the second half of the session today. So next we're going to be looking at some of the user improvements. So we're going to be looking at don't show messaging, open simultaneously to companies, remember logon details, and also read-only users. And again, we're going to do this through live demonstrations in the software for you. So I'm just going to switch over again onto our software. So bear with me 1 second. And that's us in the software there for you. Okay, so the first one we're going to show you is don't show again messaging. So this is designed really to make your invoicing a little bit smoother. Some of these messages that appear on a regular basis that our customers have asked if we can remove them from the software. So for this, I'm going to demonstrate this within the invoices and credits feature. And within here, as you can see, I've got an invoice, and this invoice has been posted to Ledgers, so it's already been completed. And what we normally have when we open up an invoice which is of this status is a message saying that it's already been posted, the amendments won't be posted to the Ledgers. So when you're just viewing invoices on a regular basis, this message can become a little bit of a nightmare for those who are trying to process quickly. So we do have the ability to tick this box and stop that message showing again. This message isn't just in invoices that have been posted, but it's also in invoices that have been created from the sales order module. So it is in both features there. The next one, and I'll be honest, this is my favorite feature. I'm still absolutely in love with this feature, and this is going to be really useful for anyone else who's in a similar position to myself, who has to use multiple companies on a regular basis. I'm just going to get this set up, so bear with me one second. And that's the ability to open multiple companies at the same time. So if you're using multiple companies, you might be a bookkeeper, you might just have two or three companies in your data set, then you might find it easier to have them both open at the same time. So as you can see there at the moment, I do have my version 28.1 open at the moment. And bear with me one second, I just need to stop the screen sharing for 1 second so I can open up my additional company. So in order to do this, you do need to click the icon again from the desktop or wherever your icon is. So you can't open it through File and Open Company. You do need to click on your icon again. And what that is going to allow me to do is open up my year-end company at exactly the same time. So I can have them both open at the same time, and I can switch between companies as and when I need to. Now, what I would say is just be very careful that you are in the correct company when you're processing, but this is going to be absolutely amazing for anyone who has to work in multiple companies at the same time, is the ability to keep them open at the same time. So it's a big change, a game changer for myself who has to work at multiple companies all of the time. The next one we're going to be looking at, I'm just going to close my year-end company down and just stay in version 28.1 for now, is the ability to remember logon details. So again, this is a bit of a feature. If you're using your own PC on a regular basis, nobody else has access to it, you can get Sage just to log in straight away rather than you having to type in your details each time. It is something to consider security-wise, whether it works for you. However, like I say, this is a time-saving feature. So for this, I'm just going to log off as manager, and I'm going to log in as my user. And as you can see there, once I've logged in, I do have the tick box here where I can ask it to remember logon details. So once I've logged on, it shouldn't ask me again next time. Now, it might be the case that I may be moving PCs, or I've decided that particular feature isn't working because I do need other people to access the PC. If I wanted to reinstate that, then I can go into settings, user management, and delete stored logon details. So it's very easy to reinstate should I need to. Sticking with users, I just need to log back in as manager for this one. So log on as manager. What we do also have is the ability to create a read-only user. So back into settings and user management and into users. So in the past, we've had standard, we've got system administrator, we have an accountant, but we also now have the option to grant read-only access. So this may be someone who is only able to view data. They aren't able to make any amendments to the data, so they may have more of a reporting capacity, but you can set them up as a read-only user where they can log in, they can run reports, but they can't post anything transactionally. So that may be of use to you, particularly if you've got maybe someone in a restricted role or someone who is new to the business. So again, all really popular features, and all of those requested via our customers. Okay, so the next topic we're going to look at today is that of business dashboards. Now, just before we do begin business dashboards, I do have a quick question for you, just to get a little bit of insight from you. So what I would like to know is, do you currently use a business dashboard? Okay, so I've just opened up a poll that should have appeared on the screen there. And don't worry if you haven't, it is a relatively new feature, but we really just would like to know who has actually used a business dashboard, if you've heard of it, and that just gives us some insight. So I'll give you a few moments to vote. I do like to make sure around 70% of you have voted before I close down, just to give us a proper insight. Fabulous, that's them all coming through. There's a slight delay, so don't worry if I go quiet there. Okay, we're approaching the 70% mark there, so that's great. Thank you very much. Don't worry, I will not hold it against you if you haven't placed your vote, but that's great. Thank you very much. So just to give you an idea, Only 18% of you are using the dashboard. It is a new feature that appeared in version 28, so don't be alarmed. Many people aren't aware of it. Currently in this group, 27% of you haven't heard of it, and 57% of you have said no, you're not using that at the moment. Okay, so thank you very much for that. I am going to close that down. So we do have some business dashboard enhancements. Now, again, this is a video that we're going to use to demonstrate this for you. But first of all, if you haven't heard of a business dashboard or you haven't yet had the opportunity to use a business dashboard, we are, again, due to popular request, creating a session on business dashboards, which will be running on the 21st of September. So if you are interested in getting use out of those, please do join us on the 21st. A link will be in the follow-up email for all of our future sessions. So I'll pop on this video for you, and then we will move on to other enhancements.
In 28.1, there are some new additions and some improvements to Business Dashboard widgets. So let's create a new dashboard and add the 5 new widgets. Debtor days, unallocated customer credits and receipts, unpaid customer invoices, unallocated supplier credits and payments, and finally, unpaid supplier invoices. Add the widgets as normal and click Finished Editing. A useful enhancement is the ability to resize the widgets in height when in edit mode. Grab the corner as normal and drag up or down to resize. Skipping now to enhancements to existing widgets, and first up is Profit and Loss. Click to edit the widget. There are now checkboxes for Show Net Profit and Include Future Totals. There are additional bars to show direct expenses for gross profit and overheads for net profit. The widget now shows a label for the financial year being reported on. Next up, Top Customers and Top Suppliers. Click to edit the widget. Both now have a drop-down menu to show up to 20 records in the list. And there's also now a checkbox to show net amount. Now looking at the Invoice Summary widget, click to edit the widget. There are now checkboxes for Show Net Amount and Show Updated Only. Another excellent enhancement is the hover functionality. Hover over a point on the chart to get more data. When in the widget drill down, there is now a Send to Excel button. And some other dashboard enhancements in this release include Print Screen, shows the full dashboard, including widgets off screen, the ability to cancel widget calculation, add multi-select to lists, allow pre-formatted dashboards to be added following the creation of the first dashboard, dashboards shown for all users with limited access.
Okay, so that was just an overview of some of the enhancements that have been applied to business dashboards. Again, if you haven't had a chance to have a look at the dashboard feature, by all means do. It's on the right-hand side of your software. You can have a look in there, but also, again, join us on the session on the 21st of September, and we'll be able to go through some of those features there with you. Okay, so it's time for me to pop back to the PowerPoint for today. More information in the handout as well as to what features have been added and which ones have been enhanced as well there for you. Okay, so quickly just talk about some of the other enhancements. So today what we've done is just show you a snippet of what is included. There's actually more features that have also been included on top of that. So again, we've given you a list there of some of the features that we've also added into version 28.1. More information on all of these can be found on the Help Centre. So if you go to sage.co.uk/help or find the Help Centre within your software, you can search on all of these items and there's more information there for you. So just a quick note on some of the limitations. It may not apply to many of you, but if you are using job costing or manufacturing software, and these are additional pieces of software that link into your Sage 50 accounts, then it will not work with those. They have actually reached the end of their life cycle. So it is something that we will have communicated to you over the last few years. As a result, version 28.1 will not work with those two modules. So just be very careful. If you think you might be using job costing or someone else in the business does, please just do check that before you make the upgrade to 28.1. So just to summarise, before we go through some of the additional help, support and roadmap, etc., today has just been to show you some of the features. There is additional ones out there, and some of them are fantastic improvements to help you make your life a little bit easier and your processing much more speedy. 22 of those improvements were based on your feedback. So again, we do recommend that you have a look on Sage City, which I'll show you in just a moment, for any other ideas that you may have. And it has already been released, so regardless of my screen saying it's soon to be released, it is available now. So if you do want to install, you haven't already done so, and you can't see the option in your software, remember it's available on sage.co.uk/AU. So just a quick mention around the roadmap. So the roadmap allows you to have a look at what's coming in the next version. So our next version will be version 29. So if you want to see what's launching soon or what we've got in the pipeline for future versions, then the Sage 50 accounts roadmap is where you can do that. Again, I'm just going to quickly demonstrate where you can see that within your software, because that's the easiest place to locate it. So bear with me, we'll bring that up. Okay. So within your software, when you're on your home page, when you log into your software, if you scroll down just a little bit further, you've got links to the roadmap here, and that will launch a page that is in your handout. And this is where, like I say, you can have a look at what's coming up, what's in the next version, and what we've got in the pipeline there. There's also a link to Sage City. So if you do want to submit any ideas, then Sage City allows you to submit your ideas on there. And we have Sage University, which allows you to access a free training online. To pop back to the PowerPoint for you. So we do have some more webinars also available. So if you aren't yet exhausted from hearing my voice and want to join me again today and Tim this afternoon at 2 p.m, we are going to go through running your year end. So if you do have year end coming up, we have a session this afternoon, but we've got some additional sessions through September. We know a lot of businesses do tend to do a year end in September. So if you are looking to do that, have a look at the dates we've got available. And tomorrow we're also going to be looking at running a VAT return. So if it's VAT return time and you've never done it before, or you want to check what you're doing is correct, then you can join us for tomorrow's session as well. Remember, these sessions are free. You can join as many times as you like, and we do have us available for any questions that you have during the session. I do just want to talk to you briefly about memberships. So memberships is something that you do have as part of your Sage Cover contract with us, and it is something that's included. Now, we are doing some sessions on what's included in memberships. So again, if you want to learn how you can get a little bit more out of your Sage Cover with us, we're doing another session on the 15th of September at 11 o'clock. So again, have a look on our webinars link and you can get yourself signed up for that. But included in your membership, you do have access to Sage University. So I showed you where you could find that within the software. And within there, you can access free training online. You also have access to Sage City, which is our online community where you can submit ideas, you can submit your feedback and chat with other users. And then finally, we have the Sage Masterclass. And this is what I'm just going to highlight in a bit more detail for you today. With the member masterclasses, we're going through seasons. So the first season that we've applied is finding and keeping great people. So this talks all around finding world-class staff, keeping them through a good onboarding experience, nurturing talent, and also retaining that talent as well. So we've got a lot of videos. These are provided by business owners around the world, which again will give you a good insight into how to retain that talent within your business. Okay, so that brings us towards the end of today's session. We're a little bit ahead of schedule there. So we do have 5 or so minutes left for any questions that you may have. So please do get those submitted across to us and we'll get as many of them answered as possible. If you are leaving us though, you feel that you've got everything you need from today's session, then thank you very much for joining us. Please do, if you can, leave us some feedback at the end of today's session so that we know how we can improve these sessions going forward for you. And obviously, if you are leaving, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again, maybe this afternoon, but if not, on a later session. In the meantime, I am going to just pop ourselves on mute while we answer questions. If there's any I can answer to the group, I'll come back and answer those for you there. Okay, a couple of questions there that I'm just going to come back to. First one is one that Tim's partly through answering, but I'm just going to jump on and just demonstrate this if it's okay. So sorry, Tim, if you're halfway through an answer, I do apologise. So again, just want to show my screen. The question was opening multiple companies at the same time. So you can open multiple, not just 2. You can open as many as you want. It is based on how much memory you've got, basically. So the restriction isn't Sage, it's more what your computer can deal with. So Tim has just answered this, so sorry about this, Tim, but I did just want to demonstrate this. You can, in fact, open one company and then open the archive at the same time. So you would open the same company twice, and then in one of them you'd go into File, Open, and Company Archive. So that is possible, yes. Another question is there any OCR software that you would recommend for Sage? Unfortunately, we can't do recommendations, but I would say that we do offer auto entry. So it might be something you want to look at is auto entry. There's lots of help again online on the auto entry. You may also find it within your software. If you go into apps and add-ons, it's quite often showing within your software. So if I just close down my archive in apps and add-ons, it's quite often information within there on auto entry as well. Not on mine, unfortunately, because I've already got auto entry set up there, but do take a look on there for auto entry on the website. Okay, so I think Tim's just answering a final question. This is just a final call for any questions that you might still have. Please do get them sent over. Otherwise, we'll be ending the session around 1:45 there. Okay, final question. What version did Business Dashboard become available? So it became available in version 28.0, so it was released around September, October last year. So it is a relatively new feature. It's not something that lots of people are aware of. So 28.0 should have become available, and from 28.1 we're applying those enhancements. There may well be other enhancements down the line. Okay, so again, it's come to Q2. Looks like the questions have dried up there. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Like I say, we do hope that we will see you again on another session really soon. But in the meantime, take care, and we'll see you again shortly.